Hey there, my name is PolishLynx. Welcome to more of Katawa Shoujo, a night recording, so let's be a little quieter. Do not wake up the dog. Anyway, I pulled my door closed, ready for another day of classes. Sleep well? Kenji's sudden arrival makes me jump and I narrowly avoid butting heads with him. I know he has poor eyesight, but he knows who I am now. Does he still have to stand this close? Oh yeah, like a baby. Hisao, we've talked about it before. That saying does not make any sense. Stop using it.
Damn, why do people say that? Have you ever heard a baby sleep? They scream all night, every night. Babies don't sleep well, ever.
Well, there goes my restful state. I have to remember to never use figures of speech with Kenji. Alright, I get your point. It was a figure of speech.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Where were you last night? I had a favor of you ask, but you weren't around.
For a split second, I considered telling Kenji the truth. That I was spending time with Hanako and Lily. Thankfully, that split second passes as soon as it came. I was just out, checking out the local area and stuff, you know, recon.
Oh, good man, good. I knew you were the type to plan ahead.
Anyway, what was this favor you wanted?
I was going to get some takeout, but I needed change.
Wait, what? I gave you the money last week, and you still haven't paid me back.
And I was starting to think you were cool.
Kenji fishes around his pocket and produces his wallet. As he counts out the 400 yen he owes me, I can clearly see at least two 10,000 yen notes. Hey, what the hell? Why are you borrowing money of me when you've got that much cash? Kenji hisses a little, realizing that he's being had.
Get off my case, man. It's bad luck to break a big note for anything less than half its value. It's the tycoon's rule. Last night's dinner is going to cost me 7 years of bad luck. 7 years! Don't you think that's enough cause to help someone out? I'd get a shorter sentence if I just stole the stuff.
My conscience screams at me to say something to him, but thankfully I restrain myself. Arguing a point like this with Kenji will just lead to further and more complicated discussions. Yeah, well, I guess you're right. Maybe you should plan these things a little better.
Yeah, man, I know, but I've just got so much stuff to do. It's hard, and you're never around anymore, so I'm on my own. We're supposed to be brothers in brotherhood, remember?
Yeah, I get you. Global conspiracy and stuff and such. I'll keep my ear to the ground. Kenji rose close enough for me to get a whiff of his garlic-tainted breath.
You'd better, man. You're already spending little time here. That's the first thing they do. They'll try to split us up, divide and conquer. Sun Tzu said that.
Roger that. No, I've got to be going. I've got class. You coming?
Nah, I'm tired. I stayed up all night just to make sure nothing was going to happen after splitting that note.
As rational as ever. I see.
Whatever. Night.
Kenji scurries back to his room, and I hear him throwing his looks as I walk down the hallway. Yada. That is why some people can't roll their tongue, or why their second toe is longer than their big toe. Muto beams a half-moon smile at us, obviously proud of his explanation of recessive genes. However, no matter how impressed he is at the science that defines who we are, the classroom seems to be reduced to a stupor. Why is it that a bad explanation can make even the most interesting things seem worthless? Right? Because it's not said in an interesting way? I can see Muto deflates as he realizes that nothing he said in the past half hour has sunk in. Whispered conversations start to break the silence, and like an avalanche, the noise level in the class starts to rise. Defeated, Muto identifies some questions from the textbook and sets to clearing off the blackboard. Almost as if expected, Hanako packs up her things and leaves as soon as people start talking and laughing among themselves. The initial shock of seeing someone play so blatantly truant has started to fade, but it doesn't stop me from wondering, is she leaving because she doesn't want people to speak to her? Or is it just the thought of people around her shouting her piece? Before I can think about the topic any further, the lunch bell rings. I wonder if she was simply taking the opportunity to leave early. The usual dude, run for your life before those two will be around again. Run for it, please. The usual clamor of students exchanging books for lunch reverberates around the room, and while Misha is distracted, I grab my lunch and head out the door. Yes! Thank you, Hisao. Lucky. Lily already sits in the tea room, setting out her lunch alone. So... Hanako's not here then?
Oh, Hisao, how are you? I haven't met Hanako since this morning, I'm afraid.
That's right, Hanako and Lily live next to each other. Somehow I think their morning conversations are slightly more grounded than Kenji's ramblings. I enjoy Kenji's ramblings, okay? They are a nice change of pace. That's strange, she left class early, so I figured that she'd come here.
So she's leaving class early?
Yeah, I've seen her do it a few times. Lily drops her head also, and her tone of voice is notably depressed. It's very reminiscent of someone who is used to hearing bad news. Very bad news.
I was so sure that she'd stop doing that once you two became friends. Everyone has their own pace, I suppose.
Yes. Well, I was wondering about just that today. Why exactly does she leave?
I'm not entirely sure myself. I personally think it's because she doesn't want to be put in a situation where she has to answer to someone.
I have a flashback of my first meeting with her when I thought she looked like a cornered animal. Maybe I wasn't far from the truth. But she seems fine with talking to you and me a bit.
It's a little more complex than that. I imagine the first thing most people ask her about is her scars and what happened. She really talks about it with me, but... sorry. She rarely talks about it with me, but I can tell that she doesn't like to remember whatever happened back then. Leaving class and running away from discussions is her preemptive strike, if you will.
So then, how does that explain her talking to me?
You said yourself, yesterday at breakfast, you tried to ignore her scars. Once she saw that you weren't going to ask her about that, she opened herself up to you.
I guess you're right. Maybe, I don't know. You know her better than I, so I'll take your word for it.
I wouldn't worry about that. I'm sure we'll come to know her as well as I do soon enough. I welcome the prospect of her having a new friend, and the two of you have such similar interests.
Well, I hardly count reading as a team sport. It is good to have company for. Reading is a team sport. Come on. Alright, guys? You agree, right? Me reading, you being around? It's a team sport.
That's my point. Hanako is still an average person at heart. She also wants company at times like that.
I see. I think sometimes. To be honest, both of you still confuse me a little.
That's only natural. Hisao, we've only known each other for a little while. It's unreasonable to expect you to understand us just as we can't understand you. But it is half the fun of becoming friends, right?
Yeah, it is.
Although I suppose there is a matter of us being opposite genders. Men and women do seem to confuse each other quite often.
Yeah. She says this with a light giggle. Finding amusement at the odd little details of life.
I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to start eating.
No, go ahead. I think I'll eat something too. I've got some books I want to drop back at the library before class starts, so I'd better get a move on.
You'll probably find Hanako there as well. If you do see her, can you tell her to stop by my room later tonight? I'd like to talk to her.
You're not coming? Unfortunately, I have class representative meeting later, so I'll be gone as soon as I finish my lunch. Okay then. If I don't see her in the library, then I'll tell her in the class. I'm sure she'll be back after lunch. We fall silent as we start to eat, and then take a second to reflect on our conversation. I've always thought that Hanako's shyness was simply due to her being self-conscious of her scars. But that is a pretty superficial way of looking at her. Just when I thought I was able to see through the fog of Lily and Hanako, I realized that I'm more lost than when I started. Lily quickly finishes her lunch, acutely aware of her meeting, and I don't blame her. Shizune is most likely going to be there. Oh my god, I feel so bad for you, Lily. I'm not going there for. And I doubt that she wants to give her the satisfaction of another argument. I must be off. Same time tomorrow? Same time, same channel. That doesn't make any sense. I'd better head off too. I don't want to risk being late. Same time, same place. Lee smiles gently, picks up her cane, and walks out into the hall. I turn my back on Lee as we head in opposite directions. For some reason I find myself hoping she doesn't get into another fight with Shizune. Or we should hope that Lee will win that fight. As much as I like Lily. Yeah, Shizune and Misha have been pretty instrumental in helping me adjust. No! Even if half of our conversations are thinly veiled recruitment attempts. Okay, I mean, they were helping, yes, but they are so annoying. Then again, I barely know either of them. Maybe they were previously leaders of some kind of secret society, I wouldn't be surprised. But their love for each other drove them apart. Oh, okay, you also involve Lily in your thinking. No. But Shizune being part of some secret society, I wouldn't be surprised. Man, I need to stop reading cheap fiction. It's rotting my brain. Either that or I've got to move away from Kenji and his bad influence. We are not moving away from Kenji. It's sad that I can't tell the two apart anymore. I slide my books down the return chute and they crash in the cart with a pleasant toot. And... Yuko, your head. Yuko, however, doesn't seem as impressed as I. She always does that.
Hisao, you scared me.
Sorry? I thought you'd be used to that by now. Or is the literacy level here so low that nobody borrows in books?
Huh? No, I think everyone here can read fine.
Yeah, never mind. There are some battles that you can never win. Trying to explain jokes is one of them. My dad taught me that the hard way. I know the feeling. I'm not good with jokes, that's why I'm not saying them. Anyway. Say, Yuko. Have you seen Hanako about? She left class early, but she wasn't in her usual hiding place.
I think I saw her sneak in before lunch. Oh, but I'm not supposed to tell anyone that.
I just told you that I saw her leave. No need to stress out.
Oh, of course. She's probably in the back.
Thanks. Got any new books recently, by the way?
No, sorry. I'll let you know when we do fall.
Okay. If there's one thing I know about the librarians, part-time or otherwise, it's that they do appreciate people who take genuine interest in their work. Hey, I do. Except I don't visit libraries, that's a problem. Anyway, I walk the now familiar path to Hanako's reading nook, picking out a few titles along the way. Sometimes I find it hard to discover a book that will interest me among the shelves. An author's names and the two-word title don't mean much in a sea of similar words. For that reason, I sometimes reread books that I read in the past. Better to bet on the favorite than a new runner. An unfamiliar title from a familiar author picks out among the spines of its neighbors. I remove it from the shelf. At least I'm not going over the old material. As expected, Hanako sits on her beanbag, buried deep in a copy of Dance, Dance, Dance. Hi Hanako, how's it going? I fought back the urge to ask why she left class early. If these suspicions were right, then asking about that could have the opposite effect. Best to leave it for the time being. Sometimes the best way to get an answer from someone is to never ask the question.
Hello, Hisao. I'm fine.
Something seems off, and after a couple of seconds, I realize what it is. Hanako is smiling. She looks as if she's pleased to see me. It's a nice change from the usual, instinctively for a frightened reaction, and something about I can see more of as we get to know each other better. By the way, look at me, actually not following the changes and not letting the bad happen. I'm afraid I might do that. And good to hear. How's the book? I've heard it's a trip.
It's good, I think. I've only just started, so I don't really know.
Fair enough. Let me know how it goes. I may borrow it once you're done.
Sure.
There is a good 15 minutes left in lunch. Not enough to really get into a book, but too much to stand around doing nothing. Unless, like, you're a super fast reader, right? And Hanako's returned to her reading, so I doubt I'll get much of conversation from her. Ah well, I'd better make myself comfortable. I slouch in the beanbag and crack open my book, which, as usual, you don't have here. The familiar style of the author leaps out at me from the very first line. As the sentences turn into paragraphs, I start to relax a little. But no matter how I try, I can't seem to get myself into the atmosphere of the book. This is partly due to lack of time, but the more distracting factor is Hanako. Every 10 or so seconds she peers over the top of her book, but when our eyes meet, she quickly ducks behind the covers. I guess she did want to talk about something after all. Actually, that was supposed to be closing the book, but never mind. What's up? You look like a prayer dog on lookout.
No, it's nothing.
I've told you before, nothing means something when you say it like that. Hanako squirms a little in her beanbag, hoping that by changing her position she will find the word she's looking for.
I was in an accident.
Just now? Are you alright? Hanako shakes her head, her hair flowing around her shoulders in wisps of amethyst on a background of pale and dark flesh.
No, when I was younger.
A realization crashes into me like a semi.
When I was...
It's alright, Hanako. You don't have to tell me anything if you don't want to. Again, she shakes her head.
No, I have to tell you. When I was young, I was in a fire. My house burned down and I nearly didn't make it. After that, I was alone.
Haruko's eyes glisten in the dim light of the library, and I reach out to grasp her hand. It's okay, Hanako. You don't have to keep going.
But I have to.
Why? What brought this on?
Last night, Lilith told me about your heart. And I didn't think it was fair.
Fair?
That I knew about you, but you didn't know about me.
I squeeze Hanako's hand a little. Don't be silly. But yeah, I have a heart condition. I lean closer to Hanako. What I didn't tell you is that I had my first talk when a girl confessed to me. I smile a little to break the tension.
Huh? Really?
Really, I haven't heard from her for a while, so I guess it's all over.
Because it never started, damn it!
Maybe she confessed, but there was no relationship. How many times do I have to... Seriously, man. I wanted to say Kenji. Hisao, there are two certain things I'm going to be repeating to you each time. First is the saying, sleep like a baby. That doesn't make sense. Second is this. You were never with her. Or we don't know. Yeah, that's true. Anyway. I know it's all over. There is no other way to interpret what happened the last time I saw her. In some ways, not having heard from her again has helped me move on from that period of life. So, now, we both know a little more about each other, but you don't have to talk about things if you don't want to. In fact, I feel a little bad even thinking about that whole incident. I can almost smell the hospital's disinfectant burning the back of my sinuses again. I imagine Hanako is going through the same thing now. When I was in the hospital, I went to the burn ward once, and only once. I was bored, so I went for a walk through all of the wards. Have I mentioned that I understand that? Like, I mean, I understand, I know basically the walking around the area. Like back when I had my appendix cut out, right? So I was in the hospital for a week. For a week, yeah. Or 5 days? No, for a week. Full week, and then on Monday, or was it Monday, whatever, I went out. Anyway. And yes, that's also where I started finally my approach to the workout. Which is crazy. But I was basically wandering around the entire area to kill time. Anyway, I went through oncology and thought I could take it, but when I got to the burn ward, I turned around and went back to my bed. I think I have not been to area like that, because I don't remember that at all. Anyway, to think that Hanako would have spent months in a place like that, smelling nothing but corrupted skin, strong disinfectant and sterilized air. The really bad cases were kept in isolated pots that no foreign objects could enter. That would have meant no reading. I would have gone insane if I didn't have my books in the hospital. And she said she was alone. Did her parents die? I'll have to ask Lily about it. I can imagine myself saying something dumb unintentionally. I mean, it's kind of obvious really from what she said. Thank you, Hisao. I haven't told many people about this. To be honest, I haven't told many people about my circumstances either. Then, I won't tell anyone either. Deal. I changed my grip on Hanako's hand to a handshake as the warning bells chimed through the window. Well then, we'd better head back to the class then, eh? Sure. Or we could skip classes? No? Act 3? Counseling. I like her too much. Hanako is too precious, man. The tint of the room slowly changes from the shine of the afternoon to the orange of dusk. A clock lazily ticks away the seconds, counting in the background, on the verge of hearing. But no matter how long I wait, the outcome cannot be changed. Changed. The diminutive playing piece makes a small click against the board. Like a wound spring, Hanako makes her move only moments after mine. It's embarrassing. In comparison to my 5 minutes move, she seems to know exactly what she wants to do. Mate! Mate! Again? What does it make this? 3-2? Stalemates don't count. Damn, you're getting better at this every day. That or she's being holding back. I've never thought. Yeah, she was playing you with her left hand before. Anyway, that or she's being holding back. I never have thought it when I first met her, but she really has a knack for this game. Chess seems to have become a popular pastime for the two of us. Hiding away in the tea room, playing a game or two after classes. From here, the students outside can just barely be heard minding about. The everyday noises from below remind me of my life before Yamaku. For I'm by now well aware that it's a life I'll never get back to. Fancy another game? I have to finish my homework. Want to do the homework together? Oh, well, I'll see you tomorrow then. But
What about this?
Hanako points to the tea set surrounding the mostly empty chessboard. Don't worry about it. I've got it.
Oh, okay. See you.
Later. Hanako departs as I start cleaning up the area. The occasional whistles and cheers from the sporting clubs outside become less frequent, eventually approaching silence. Part of me still wants to be in some kind of steam. Since I played soccer and other sports before my accident, I guess it's only normal to feel nostalgic about what I can't do anymore. Same. I mean, I technically could have been, if it wasn't for the fact that I freaked up my ankle on the first freaking training I went to, and that got to the shin bone again. I mean, technically I can run, but I can't like make any like strong turns, so that's problematic. Anyway, but I have other reasons that sorry, than that for my coming here so often, and I don't feel so bad about losing that part of myself because of them. Lee is a good friend by now, but it's the small exchanges I have with Hanako that feel especially dear. The small victories I feel every day as I see more of what she's like under her self-imposed shell. That's why I come here most of all. As I'm putting away cups and saucers, I hear talking outside the door. Pausing for a moment to listen, I can make out that it's Hanako and Lee and decide to go outside and investigate.
Are you quite sure? I am sure. Oh, Hisao.
Hanako turns to see me with a look of mild surprise as she notices my approach. Lee must have caught her just as she was about to leave.
Oh my, Hisao is here as well.
Afternoon, Lily. What's up?
I was hoping now that I finished with my class representative duties for the day, that I might have the two of you accompany me for the tea at Shanghai. It would be nice to enjoy yourselves outside of the school for a change.
I'd be up for it, but I think Hanako had work to do for, right?
It's not all that much. Wonderful. It seems that we are decided then.
I cast my eyes across the cafe as the three of us step in. As usual, there are only a handful of people around at most, and the noise level is quiet background hum. The hold Lee has on Hanako's arm remains just as it has been for the entire slow walk down the hill to the local town. For it's hard to say for which reason, for Lee's guidance or for Hanako's reassurance. Hey, we know what? Now that I think about it, Hanako's neutral ending, compared to other neutral endings, Lily and the Shizune's, was an ending where there was no relationship, but also no breakdown between the two, right? They stayed friends. While, well, with Shizune and with Lily, it all ended completely. Now that I think about it, oh my god, no, the bad ending. Oh, why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Anyway, for a moment, Lily removes her arm from Hanako's to retract her cane as Yuko quickly skitters over to where we stand, but soon replaces it right back where it had been.
Welcome to the Shanghai! May I take your order? Kwatong!
She gives a deep bow, her well-delivered and professional introduction putting her in a good mood. It's a nice change from the norm for Yuko.
Just tea, please. Hanako, Hisao.
I'll have a slice of pea and a coffee.
Just tea, please. Coming right up! Please take my city wish, and I'll be back shortly.
Yuko gives a smile and a nod before shuffling to the counter, and we make our way to some empty seats by the window in quick measure. We slip into our seats, the girls on one side with Lee's cane propped up beside them and I on the other. I realize that Hanako's not doing something that she so often does. Rather than keeping her eyes pinned to the ground and hiding behind her blind escort, busy trying to convince herself that the world around them doesn't exist, she's merely keeping her eyes low and helping Lily around. Are you okay, Lily? You look tired. She loves her head a little, looking somewhat embarrassed that she let it show.
Class representative work can be very tiring, considering that it often means dealing with the student council. Very tiring indeed.
Yeah, I understand you. I so understand you. Every scene with student council, oh, it's so tiring.
How do the other representatives go? Better than I, but not by much. Suna is a harsh taskmaster no matter whom she deals with.
It doesn't sound like you particularly relish the job. Why do you do it in the first place if it's so bad?
Being a class representative is enjoyable, and I can deal with the responsibility well enough. It's just that the people involved are sometimes
a pain in the ass. She trades off cutting awards as the rather opportune spot. It's hard to mention Lee cursing, but I said it for her, okay? But imagine that if anyone could make her do so, it would be Shizune. Hanako looks to be withering a bit in the light of such conflict, but before I can steer the topic away a little, she stands up.
Hanako, I'll be back in a bit.
With that, she leaves for the restrooms. I suppose that's one way to deal with the situation. That was indeed her motivation. Lee, however, looks a little wounded. Don't worry about it. I don't think it was you.
But
I think she's been getting stronger recently. You've seen it yourself, right? The words Hisao, he will be. That went a bit oury. Fortunately, he does look offended. And by now, I really shouldn't be quite so scared of stepping on that landmine around her.
Possibly. Sometimes I find it hard to tell for.
Silence reigns for a moment before the 2 teacups, pie, mug of steaming coffee appear in front of us. I notice that Yuko takes special care to place the teacup against the tip of Lee's fingers, letting her know where it is.
Here you go.
Thanks, Yuko.
Thank you.
With a quick and silent bow, the bespectacled waitress takes her leave.
Ah, that's right. I was meaning to ask you something, and now would be the right time to do so.
I'm all ears.
Hanako's birthday is coming up, and I was hoping that you might accompany me for present shopping in the city this weekend.
Hanako's birthday is soon. I suppose it would be a nice chance to cheer her up a bit. Like Yuko, she always seems to be teetering on the edge of either panic or depression, and I've never seen her enjoy herself much outside her chess games. All that aside, learning the layout of the city better with a friend keeping company sounds like a good way to spend a weekend. Oh my god, now that I think about it, this is the prelude to that event. Sure, I'd be happy to. Have you got any plans for what to do for her birthday? Party or anything?
Hanako being Hanako, perhaps a low-key affair would be.
Lee suddenly cuts herself short, leaving me to wonder why as she brings her teacup to her lips and begins to sip. After a few seconds, I notice that Hanako is walking up to us over her shoulder. Lee's hearing must be very good indeed if it was the sound of the restroom door opening that tipped her off. True. Hanako takes her seat once again, and wastes no time drinking her tea. Soon the 3 of us are quietly eating and drinking as the sun sets. It's a nice way to spend the remainder of the day's light, and it makes me appreciate the quiet and serene surroundings of Yamaku. I think I'm really beginning to like life here, as isolated as it may be. Yeah. I finish off the last of my coffee and rest the mug on the table while the girls talk between themselves. The coffee here is a little bitter for my taste, but still quite good. Better than what I can make for myself in any case. The girls' discussion is mainly focused on their respective reading preferences, which does give me a little curiosity about related topic. Hey Hanako, I was just wondering, aside from chess and reading, do you have any hobbies or things you like doing? She's completely stopped in her tracks, looking quite surprised that anyone would be interested in asking such a question about her. I am. It takes her a little time to formulate a response.
I guess I like singing a little. I'm okay with computers as well, but I don't use them all that much.
Singing's not exactly something expected to hear. It's hard to imagine her singing voice, given how soft-spoken she is. Lee, on the other hand, simply nods. She must already know all of this, since she's been friends with Hanako for 1 year or so by now.
What about you?
Me? She hesitates before quickly flicking her head up and down. It's only logical that she'd want me to talk about my hobbies after she's told me hers. It's kinda interesting, but Hanako is like, you know, following the rule of kind of equivalent exchange, right? You get info, actually, you give info, you will get some info from her as well. It's interesting. Anyway, there is chess, obviously, but also there was soccer as well, for I can't really do that anymore. Reading, which I picked up in hospital. This is surprisingly hard. Didn't Hanako look a little put off by the direction this is taking, and the more I think about it, the more I am too.
It sounds as you've picked up quite a few things since your accident.
This candor is probably the most positive spin one could put on what I said. Hanako, however, is silent. If a situation becomes difficult, her reaction always seems to be withdrawing into silence, in order to prevent things getting worse. That or physically retreating. A soft ringing gives us a pause. As she reaches into her pocket, it becomes obvious that this sounds coming from her phone.
Sorry. It's okay.
You know what I was thinking about actually? Even if I came to the conclusion that I can't do it, like, I don't know, like, I wouldn't like doing that basically. Basically what some games that get released one after another do, so basically recycle the content. I could just, you know, skip those scenes that we've played and seen and insert the videos of them, you know, from the past into those fragments basically into here, right? But
would I want to do that?
No, I don't want to do that. And here we are. Anyway, Lily gives a quick nod before shuffling out of her seat and taking the call a little distance away to avoid disturbing the both of us. Must be nice to be popular. Hanako smiles but doesn't take up the hook for further discussion. I end up just sitting back and closing my eyes, relaxing as best I can. It's nice and peaceful here. I wonder what it'd be like to have grown up somewhere like this rather than in the big city.
Hey, you come from the city?
Looks like I found something she wants to talk about. Yeah, you could say I was a shit kid. Okay, city kid. Through and through.
It sounds like a lot changed.
It did. I'm still not quite sure what to make of it all, for it's a bit of a culture shock in more ways than one. You must have gone through something like this when you first arrived at Yamaku, right? I'd imagine most new students would.
Not really.
Hanako gazes a little to the side, looking at when to go on. I tilt my head inquisitively, but a couple of seconds pass with no further answer.
But can't we deal with that on Monday? The fault has hardly settled from the last... Understand. I'll try to talk her down. You know what she's like when she gets locked onto an idea. Yeah, thank you. I'll talk to you later then. Goodbye.
This conversation ends with this now her phone closing. She turns to her table but doesn't take her seat. Need to go?
Unfortunately, class representative works calls once again. I can come with you. It's alright, Hanako. I'll just be going straight to the student council. There is no need to spoil a fine evening on my account. Besides, if you were to accompany me on my way back to school, who would keep our poor Hisao company? Okay. I can join you for tea again later tonight if you'd like. I may well need it.
We agree on that plan, and Lee says her farewells to the both of us, taking her cane after Hanako passes it to her. Despite my offer to pay for this share, she insists on giving us her portion of the bill, and gives her regards to Yuko as she takes her leave. And then, we are alone. It may be all well and good to leave Hanako and me alone to have some time together, but it all typically means is the two of us sitting near each other in silence for a while. I wonder what I must look like to Hanako. I never thought myself as a scary person, but to have someone my own age acting this way around me makes me intensely self-aware, as if it's my fault that she's so troubled. She might get more used to people if she were to stop being so cloistered to Yamaku. My god, my voice is going. But then again, when even people much older than her react so strongly after a single glance at her face, she may well feel the same way I do now. It's a real catch-22. If she stays in Yamaku, she won't get used to socializing, but if she leaves, any efforts she might try would get thrown back at her by the people who can deal with her scaring. Want to order something else to keep us going? We haven't much of a dinner, after all. Hanako brightens and nods vigorously. Glad that I brought up the topic for her. I catch Yuko's gaze, and then she dutifully comes over to take our orders.
Would you like something else?
I'll just have a
sandwich special and hot chocolate.
Bit late for coffee by now, Hanako.
I'll have the same.
I would drink some chocolate now, actually, hot chocolate.
I have some.
With a knot and a bow, Yuko turns on the ball of her feet and returns behind the counter, where she busies herself fishing out bread and condiments and working the machine to make our drinks. Not a word is said between us until Yuko comes back. She smiles and gives us our food and drinks before moving to a customer who is called for her attention. I give up on the prospect of having much of a conversation with my companion and decide to just enjoy the meal, small as it may be. It tastes nice, and does most of the food here, as does most of the food here. After having a few mouthfuls, I notice something missing. Namely, the sound of Hanako eating. Looking back to her, I see Hanako finishing it behind her untouched sandwich. Not hungry? She shakes her head from side to side. Even as she does, the patch of her hair she keeps over the right side of her face still does its job in hiding it almost entirely.
It's not that.
Oh? Also all ready to have your share too?
You look troubled. Is something wrong?
I'm startled by her thinking that I'm the one who looks troubled, but on second thought, she's probably right. My face may have given away my emotions without me noticing, and she's hardly an in person, quite the opposite. We're friends, right?
Friends.
From the tone of her voice and shrinking posture, it looks as though I've hit yet another landmine. This is another reason why interacting with her is difficult. The self-imposed psychological barriers she puts up between herself and others, including me and most likely even Lily. It's a shame that...
I think that we are.
I'm not taken off guard by Hanako's straightforward answer, all the more so since I was about to give up on getting any reply at all. I see.
Am I wrong? Sorry,
No, it's just... hearing confirmation of that from you is... reassuring. So reassuring. To pick up on what you said earlier, since coming to Yamaku, I've been a bit uneasy about how I should relate with others. I found myself chuckling a little. It's surprising how much of a relief that was. I can feel my face smiling as I pick up my cup of hot chocolate and bring it to my lips.
That's hot! That's why I haven't eaten. I was waiting for my drink to cool down first.
I guess I'll wait then. The both of us share a little chuckle. The situation isn't really that funny, but for some reason, it feels like laughing is the most natural thing to do right now. I guess we're both a bit wound up about each other. I was so busy thinking Hanako was the one with something wrong. It took her to remind me that I was uneasy as well. But be that as it may, it still feels a little nice to have someone think about me like that, in her own way.
She's so precious.
Following a long, quiet trudge up the hill into the school grounds, the two of us find ourselves between the two dormitories. Regular night patrols pass between the male and female dormitory buildings, both for security and to quickly raise the alarm for any medical issues that may arise. You never know. The guard currently on duty nods us and gives us a quick note as he continues on his way. A loud yawn escapes from Hanako's mouth before she has a chance to cover it. I have little doubt she's fairly tired by now. I'd better be off to my room then. See you tomorrow, Hanako.
Good night.
We separate and begin to walk our separate ways before I stop and look back. Hanako stands there, waving to me as she smiles. I smile and wave back to her. And after a few seconds, she turns and walks up the stairs to her dormitory building, disappearing through the door. These little moments we share between us feel like a small treasure. Because Hanako is a treasure. One thing is sure, I want to protect that small, delicate smile she so fleetingly wears around so few people. I wonder about the things I have when Hanako's around and when I'm able to do things for her. Whether they may be the seed for something beyond what we share now. Anyway, for now, let's end the episode. My voice is cracking like crazy. We'll continue tomorrow, of course. Another nice recording. And yeah, we'll see where this is going and how bad of a bad ending the bad ending is. Hope to see you there. Bye bye.